We're live. Hello. Welcome to the Software Testing World Cup for North America 2016. I'm your, what do you call him, MC, lead judge, Matt Heuser. And for North America 2016, I'm your, what do you call him, MC, lead judge, Matt Heuser. And okay, and that's really interesting because I've got feedback from the actual Google Hangout live coming into my own ears, confusing me. But thanks, everybody. We've got 3 minutes to go before the competition formally starts. And let's show you our judges. Irfan is a judge. Joel Muhlenberg, our product owner. We have Schumann, another judge, and Simon. How do you pronounce your last name, Simon? Papinow?
I've heard it so many ways. It's French, so it should be Papineau.
Papineau.
Yeah.
Simon Papineau, who's from Montreal and is actually providing the bug tracker software for this competition. So there's two major components here. You're going to file bugs using leantesting.com, and if you have questions about that, Simon's the one to talk to. And we're going to create a test report, and you're going to email that to testreport@softwaretestingworldcup.com with your team name and North America in the subject line. We'll get to that a little bit later. Right now, in about 2 minutes, I'm going to ask Joel to tell you about the software which you're going to be testing, which is Shift Switch? What's the name?
Say it 10 times fast. Sift Swift.
Sift Swift.
Sift through choices swiftly.
All right.
All right.
Sift Swift. And then when we get to 7 o'clock, Joel, why don't you go ahead and broadcast your screen and
Sure.
show folks what we're doing. Let's see here.
Will they see my face, by the way?
What's that?
Will they'll see my face on the Hangout?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Before I flip to the screen. Okay, cool. So I'll just say hi that way.
Yep. They should. So you are the primary person, and then the rest of us are in the bottom corner, and we're broadcasting. And you should see. Yeah, you should see screen share in your upper left if you've used that before.
Yeah, I see it.
Well, in about 1 minute, you can go ahead and take over and tell everybody the software they're going to be testing for the next 3 hours.
Sure, you bet.
And they should also have an email from me right now. At the very least, they're supposed to have an automatic magical one that has their team name and everything. But you should at least have an email from Matt Heuser at Exelon Development that links you to all the information about the warm-up round, how to use the bug tracker, important information from the product owner, how we're going to be communicating, a link to this YouTube channel, and of course the schedule. The schedule's pretty loose. It's really loose. We do our best. But hey, it's 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock Central. It's time for Joel to tell you about the software under test.
All right. Thanks, Matt. So can you see me right now, or do you see my screen share?
I see your screen share.
Okay, great. Okay, so as Matt said, I'm Joel. I'm the product owner of Sift Swift, which is a website for helping consumers make decisions about things like credit cards, bank accounts, cell phone plans, etc. But today, the testing competition is going to focus on just one of those applications, which is the credit card app. And specifically, it's an application about credit card rewards and helping consumers choose the best rewards cards for their situation. So depending, on my credit score, whether I want a business card or a personal card, what kinds of rewards I'm interested in, whether it's cash back, travel, my spending, it takes all of that into account and presents a prioritized or sorted list of reward credit cards that are suitable for your situation as a consumer. So you should be seeing the app right now, and on the left-hand side, you'll find a bunch of the main filters and inputs that our users are expected to use. Things like, what's your credit score? Because that qualifies you for different cards. What types of cards are you interested in? What kind of rewards do you want? So one of the bullet points in the introductory email that went out, should have gone out, explains that the value of the reward currencies that you can earn from different cards can change depending on how you redeem that currency, those points. So if you redeem for travel with some cards, the points can be worth more than if you redeem for cash back, for example. So that's a factor to be aware of while you use the app. Then you can also specify, the time horizon over which you want to run the simulation of what the expected rewards will be over, anywhere from 1 to 10 years. And then you can also modify the simulation to reflect your actual spending patterns monthly. So you click that button and enter what you spend in different categories on average each month, and the simulation of rewards will be based on that. Just scroll down to the bottom and hit submit when you're done. There are some lesser used filtering options on this More tab. Includes things like filtering by the annual fee for the card, the foreign transaction fee percentage that happens when you use the card abroad, and then some pretty obscure stuff that a lot of people wouldn't use, but it's there for filtering just in case. Then there are a couple segments of the app that are only displayed when you toggle these buttons up at the top. So for example, the sorting preferences are revealed by that toggle. And preferences are all about 2 different kinds of sorting. So you can kind of have straight up sorting. So that's the default, where in this case we're sorting the cards by the average annual reward that you can expect from that card over your chosen time horizon. And then secondarily, what are the annual fees? So if 2 cards had the same reward, expected reward, then the one with the lower annual fee would come first, because that's preferable. Then there is a form of ranking that this app calls Pareto ranking, which rather than try to explain what it is technically, it's probably easiest just to look at an example. And so if we were to, you use that whenever there's trade-offs involved. So, for example, there's a trade-off between the rewards that you can earn and how good your credit is, because cards for better credit tend to have better rewards. So if you just use regular sorting, you don't get to see really what that trade-off is very easily. But if you click Pareto ranking, then you get this different display where you can see what the best card is for someone with excellent credit, the best cards for someone with good, fair, and bad or none. So it's basically whenever there's a trade-off, it's looking at the leading options on that trade-off curve and finding those for you. So these are all the #1 options on that trade-off curve between the credit you have and how much you can earn in rewards. And then the #2 ranked ones are the next best cards on that trade-off. So I hope that makes sense. Then lastly, there's a feature that frankly isn't as important as the rest of the application. It's called the better than diagram. It's easiest to look at when there are fewer options. So you toggle that button and what you see is a big directed graph, it's the math term for it, of all the best cards in rank 1, the next best cards in rank 2, etc. And there's arrows pointing from the worse options to the better options that dominate them. So you don't have to worry too much about that part, though. I would recommend just I care that that part doesn't error out, but I don't think there's a lot of value in scrutinizing that diagram for accuracy and that sort of thing. So please focus on the rest of the app, because that's the only prioritization input I'll give you. Then just a few other things. Don't want to take too much time, but you can customize the columns that are displayed using this button. So you can see, you turn on different columns or turn them off. These are groups of columns. And lastly, there are some filtering and search options. So the column headers, you can actually filter by just about anything, or clear that filter like I just did. And you can search the whole table here. Yeah, I guess that's a quick overview of the app and what it does. And there are some bullet points in that email that went out that would be good to review. They talk a little bit about the metrics used in the application. It gives you a definition of those metrics. Yeah, I guess that's it. That's the overview. Does that sound good, Matt?
Yeah, please stop screen sharing the screen. There you go. The Google Hangouts can do funny things when you're screen sharing the screen that has the picture of the video of the Hangout. But thank you. So we got a ton of questions already pouring in. I think I know some of the answers. Are there any feature or areas that you feel there are issues or have concerns about?
I guess I would say the biggest concern is just accuracy of the calculations. And I don't expect people to delve into the nitty-gritty, grungy details of every card to understand, the reward structure. But if there are any situations in which the app doesn't respond well and the calculations get messed up because of things that people can do in the app, I'd really be interested in those. So anything that compromises the accuracy of the information and the calculations, that's really important.
It looks like some people are not getting that email. Can you forward it to me, and I've got the list of all the players, and I'll just get it out to everyone?
Sure, I will.
Let me find that.
Yeah, that's the 8 bullet points, and I'll send you a link to what Yui, I don't know how to pronounce his name, what he sent to me earlier.
Uwe, he's German. Uwe.
Thank you.
Like almost like Uber.
Gotcha.
Not quite. Yeah. Okay, so believe it or not, I have a little Ruby program that actually generates all of the email addresses for everybody that is signed up. So if you got an email, shoot, that's not going to work. If you got an email from me earlier, it was an invitation to this, you are about to get blind copied on the, is it a link? You just, nope, that's the, okay, that's the game day kickoff, software under test. Yeah, there are, so in the software, so I sent an email out, everyone should have it, from Matt Heuser at XNDev. And if you don't have it, I don't know how you got onto the YouTube. I'll just drop it in the chat. No, I can't drop it in the chat. What can we do? I can edit the YouTube channel. Yeah. I can edit the YouTube channel. Where's the edit button? Okay. Take a second, folks. We'll get it to you.
Yeah, so there is a question I see about which browsers are supported. And the answer to that is it's every browser that supports WebSockets is supported. And I have that list. I can go get it. Don't think it went out in the email.
Right. So if you shift refresh YouTube, you should see under the description this link to http://us6.campaign-archive2. That'll provide you all the information about today's event, including Joel's 8 tips for testing his software. So got a question. Are there any user docs or design specifications?
No. Unfortunately,
so
no.
got a question. Are there any user docs or design specifications?
No, there are none. It's, as far as documentation,
No.
it's hoped
So
that the
are
app...
there any user docs or design specifications?
No, there are none. As far as documentation...
Is somebody broadcasting? Is one of the judges broadcasting? I'm picking up some audio backlash.
As far as documentation...
Is somebody broadcasting?
Okay. Yeah, the feedback is not from me.
Are you hearing it?
I am hearing it.
Okay. Well, you don't have headphones in.
I can get the headphones.
Are you hearing it? Yeah, because I think.
Let me get headphones.
Okay.
One moment.
Thanks for playing, folks. This is like a regular old software project. Got a little bit of confusion. It's natural.
Excuse me for interrupting, Matt.
Please.
I'm just getting some feedback. It's being talked about in the YouTube chat, and I've gotten by email as well. I've confirmed that the URL for siftswift.com/en/us/credit cards is not working on my end either. It appears to be loading, but it's just not. Maybe under heavy load.
I think we broke it with 50 people, or maybe that's. I guess that's maybe a couple hundred people if everybody's using it. So Joel, what's the URL for SifSwift?
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, put it in the Hangout chat.
I'll send it to you.
Okay. And got a bunch of questions for you once we get that going.
Huh. It's funny. It says to remove web addresses and try again. So here we'll try it this way. Nope.
Is SysSwift down, Joel?
No. It's not down.
Okay.
Although One of the processes looks pretty taxed, though.
Yeah, I'm getting redirecting you to, and then it's not getting in. The other judges can't get in. So ironically, this is where I would say, well, wait, let's ask Joel a bunch of questions. But I think he's going to want to go operational on his website and get it back up, right? Because I can't get to it right now.
Right.
While we wait, one thing that you could do while we work through this is let's talk about the bug tracking system. Everybody try to log into lean testing. Make sure you have an account there. Make sure you know how to file bugs in lean testing. And if you have any questions about lean testing, leave those in the comments and we'll ask Simon about
it. If you want, I can take a minute just to show you briefly an example of bug reporting process.
That'd be great. Thanks.
Okay. Can you give me the controls for screen sharing?
You don't have them? It should be in the upper left. You should just be. Oh, here you go. There should be now. You should have them now.
Okay. Upper left.
Yep. So there's chat, and below that there's screen share. Yep.
Okay. Do you now see my screen?
Yeah. Nobody should be load testing this, by the way, at all. Load testing is out of scope for this because there's only one hosted test environment. So even if you did load testing, stress testing, performance testing well, it would your data wouldn't be right because everyone would be hitting it. So if you are load testing the site, please stop. But go ahead.
Okay. So this is actually what the main view of the bug tracker looks like. In this case, I'm sharing with you our own bug base, which is filled with 1,200 bugs in lean testing. I'm ashamed to say. So what you'll want to do is this list will appear empty for most participants, for all participants initially. So you'll click on New Bug up here. And here you'll have the bug report form. There are few mandatory fields in this case. Everything is customizable technically, but for the World Cup, we've limited the number of mandatory fields to the bug title, which is up here. You need to specify a version number for the software that you're testing. In this case, what we've done, we've simply created a version called Software Testing World Cup, so just use that. You must absolutely enter severity for your bug. There are 4 choices: trivial, minor, major, and critical. You're also asked to specify a component, a project component, which also in this case we've made simply default Software Testing World Cup. And you must specify a bug type. So that could be a functional bug, usability bug, text bug, visual. Again, in lean testing, this is customizable, but for the World Cup, we've standardized to use only these options. Lastly, reproducibility for your bug, which is also mandatory. Everything else you don't need to fill in. So, I would encourage you to. So you should add a description for your bug, a description of what the expected result would be, steps to reproduce. You can specify the platform on which the bug was found, including the browser. We had a few issues this morning with the Australian edition of the World Cup where maybe some mobile devices were missing or some specific operating system versions were missing as well. It shouldn't be a problem for desktop browsers, but just in case, if you're using a device that for some reason isn't listed, just mention it in your description, and you don't specifically have to use these fields. You can and you should add an attachment to your bug. This can be a screenshot, an image, or video. It can be any kind of logs also. Up to you. And that's it. At this point, you would just click report. Your bug report is submitted, and that's what the judges will be looking at. Was that clear, Matt? Anything I should add, perhaps?
That looks reasonable to me. Thank you.
All right.
I'm of a divided mind because I'm trying to figure out what's going on with SIFT-SWIFT. It seems to be responding in about 31 milliseconds to me for pings, and I'm in Des Moines, Iowa, and I think Joel's in Michigan. So that seems reasonable.
Yeah, there seems to be, if everyone could give it a break for a minute. I'm going to try something.
Okay, you're going to reboot it?
Yeah, well, at least one of the server processes, yeah.
Okay. All right, folks. Hands away from the keyboard while we try to get this thing up.
Sorry about this.
So I've actually at a hosted party for the World Cup. I'm in a separate room, but I'll take the laptop around and you can see everybody in a little bit. But I think they're a little disappointed. There's pizza, but the pop isn't cold yet. And I can't have soda pop after a certain hour because I can't sleep. Very disappointed.
That problem process has been restarted. So.
Okay. Let's see if we can get in. Hey! Credit cards, Bing. There's also a bank account feature. That's cool. I'm in. All right, everybody, give it a try. Well, not everybody. Like one person at a team at a time, and slowly ramp it up. Is that terrible?
Would be nice. Yeah,
That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's horrible. All right. So we have a ton of questions here. Let's see. Irfan, please keep monitoring the questions while we run through them. Are there any particular features or area that you are concerned about?
So as I said earlier, the main concern is accuracy. You know, there's a lot of scrutiny on these kinds of applications, and actually there's potential legal issues if there's gross inaccuracies in the tool itself. So like I said earlier, I don't expect necessarily people to get into the nitty-gritty of the card reward structures to test the detailed calculations, but if there's any part of the tool which, when using it, causes something to go awry in the calculation, that would be of particular interest.
Okay. So if they can break it somehow, put a number in that's funny that generates the...
Right.
Hits a what's the term? It's an optimization the programmer might not be aware of, that where there's a boundary condition the programmer might not be aware of.
Right.
Okay. You said the operating system in browsers is anything that supports web sockets?
Correct.
Right. Do we need a performance test? I would suggest performance test single user. Like, gee, it seems to take a really long time when I do this particular application is reasonable. Don't put WinRunner on it, or don't put JMeter on it, or LoadStorm and try to break the app, because you will, but we won't know what the load is, and it's unfair to everybody else. Are there specifications for the calculations? How do we know if they're accurate? You could click on the details of any card and figure out what it is, and you could by hand calculate what the right answer should be, and you could run it. I think our product owner has said he's not super, that might not be the best use of, certainly all of the time. I would say do it with a couple of cards for 10 minutes and just get a baseline, get some confidence in it, but that's just me, right?
Yeah.
Are there, who is the target audience? Who's going to use the software?
Just consumers in the U.S. and Canada right now, and small businesses.
Okay. What is it? What do you have any shipping criteria? It's already in production, right?
It is, yeah, although it's never seen this much concurrent use.
Well, all right. Hopefully. And if you're in the United States or Canada, conceptually, you could sign up for a credit card tonight. You could find your best deal, and you could sign up for a credit card tonight. That would probably make Joel happy, but I don't know. Are there any dependencies upstream or downstream of teams or components? I'm not sure what they're getting at there.
Not sure what that means either.
So I guess that would mean if you sign up for Get Me a Credit Card and it brings you to the Wells Fargo credit card page, and that crashes, how do we know that that's not you sent the wrong URL or their page is bad?
Yeah, that's a fair question. And actually, so for Canadian credit cards, there are links to sign up for cards. For U.S. cards, that's not the case. And if those links are broken, yeah, that's of interest.
How is it not the case for the U.S. stuff?
Right now, the links are not included for U.S. cards. Long story, they're just not there.
It just gives. So how do you make your money? I thought you were an affiliate guy.
Well, on the Canadian cards, so it's a long story, but
okay.
Working that out on the U.S. side.
All right. What browser does your development team use?
Mainly Chrome.
I got to find out. Can we find out who asked that question? That is a classic quick attack question. That I want to find out who wrote that. Let me see if I can find that. What browser does your Bailey Hanna? I don't think I know Bailey. All right. It's one of the standard ones in the training that we do.
So one of the questions is the banking account in scope, and the answer is no.
Okay. It's
just credit cards.
How about security scanning? If someone runs a port scanner against your website, are you going to be annoyed?
No.
No, don't do it, or no, you're not going to be annoyed?
I'm not going to be annoyed. All
right, go for it.
Just don't tax the system too much.
Don't crash it, right? Don't get root and delete everything. RM-R star. Don't do that, right? That's like that won't be helping anybody. But if you can get root or something, if you can get shell access, that's really cool. It's good to know.
Yeah, I would like to know about that.
Yeah, I would think so. Wow. Okay. Accessibility requirements?
That's a really good question. Those are not specified.
Okay. So if they find accessibility bugs that seem like easy fixes, you'd probably appreciate that.
I would. Yeah.
And if it would require a whole website rewrite, then right. Do you have any requirements for 24/7 uptime or high availability? Clearly not, because we just took it down.
Yeah, 24/7. Yeah. Concurrent users, not much more than about 20, but that's about all it's seen. So I think we're taxing it a bit more than it's seen in the past.
Browser's development team intended. Wow, we're getting so many comments in here. I have to keep scrolling back up to get to the ones we haven't covered yet. Somebody asked, are there any requirements? Are there any functional requirements at all? Question mark.
Not documented, no. Not
right.
That I can share.
Of course there are functional requirements. They're just not written down, right? This is a real startup that has done well, by the way, folks. I thought I saw a couple more. Okay. Target audience, upstream, downstream, development team. Is this intended to be screen reader friendly? So I guess that's the accessibility, and the answer is we don't know. If you can help us get screen reader friendly, that'd probably be helpful. Is the app only supported for US and Canada? I believe that's correct, right?
Correct. Yeah, India will be added soon, but right
awesome.
now it's just US and Canada.
You're not going to add Mexico? Just
maybe.
That's a serious question. I don't know.
No, it's driven more by where there are card issuer relationships available.
Sure. The site showed both Canada and USA. Is there any preference for either one, or are both of interest in this session?
Both are of interest. If I had to put more emphasis on one than the other, it would be the US, just simply because of the size of the user base, potential user base.
Okay. Should the site be tested for responsive design?
Yes. Although it's not hyper optimized for, it's not really optimized at all for small devices. It's intended, it's best used on a larger device. It's meant to be usable on small devices, but not necessarily great.
Right. So you're going to want to adjust the screen resolution. You're going to want to check your phones and tablets. It should be usable, but if it's not pretty, that's not really a requirement, right?
Right. Right.
And usability in that case actually means, like, if I really want to, I can click on it and it'll get, and I have to scroll around and stuff, but I can get there. As opposed to the general usability, which means anything which might slightly annoy a customer is really important to us. What is the source of the credit card data? Was it provided by a reputable third party, or did a developer discover the data used?
Some of it actually comes from card issuers, although a lot of it is just right off their website, basically.
Right.
So it comes off the card issuers' websites.
Right. So they promise 1% cash back. You plug $1,000 in, you get $10 bucks.
Right.
What part of the app is the newest release? Is there any particular functionality that is new?
Not really.
Is there any personally identifiable information stored on your site?
No.
What programming language is the website primarily written in?
R.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, nobody expected that answer.
So let me get. Did you actually? So does R actually take inputs in and then does all the calculations and spits out HTML?
The calculations and the web stuff are in R. Yeah.
So R actually generates the HTML with the right answers in it.
It does. Yeah.
That's crazy.
There's a framework. It's using a framework called Shiny, which is kind of cool.
That makes more sense. Slightly more sense.
But that's an R framework.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. You gotta teach me some R sometime. I'll buy you lunch. Is there? How does this software make money for your company?
Well, that part of SwiftSwift is still ramping up. There are some affiliate relationships. There's also some Google AdSense ads that are pretty prominent. So those are the two main ways.
Okay. Is there a specific set of resolutions that are considered to be in or out of scope? So when you go to the home page, there's banking and credit cards, and banking is out of scope. And we already heard that the Pareto, is it the Pareto?
Pareto.
The graphs that it generates.
Yeah.
The best fit matching graphs. You might not going to exhaustively test those in 3 hours. But
yeah, the diagram is a low priority feature.
If it's clearly wrong, whoa, hey, my SwiftSwift.com just unexpectedly exited and diagnostic information was dumped to the JavaScript error console. Did it just go down? I think it might have just gone down again, buddy.
Oh no.
I'm refreshing. What is happening? Are you going to have some interesting logs? No, it's back up. That's weird. So
it looks okay.
It looks like it's constantly communicating with the server because I wasn't doing anything. And then somehow that connection got lost, and then I got that error message. We'll see if I can get that back up again. That's really interesting.
Oh, yeah, it will. It is possible for it to disconnect from the server, and then there's a little button that says reconnect, so you can resume your session. Yeah.
No SSL, but you said there's no personally identifiable information, so...
Right. There is no SSL at this time.
So the threat model for that would be someone could figure out which credit cards I was interested in getting.
Right.
So, like, if I'm thinking of divorcing my spouse, and getting a personal credit card that she's not going to know about to my P.O. box, you might not want to do that. Because if your spouse is a hacker, it's not SSL encrypted. But the threat model, there's just not a lot there.
Not really.
Right. We're asked what the stack is. So there's got to be some JavaScript in there, right?
There is. There's some JavaScript. Yeah, there's some JavaScript. There's Nginx is the web server. You've got Shiny server as an application server, and a lot of our code doing calculations.
Do you want to put SSL there? I mean, how hard would it be to you just throw a couple certs on it, and so you could do HTTP SSS if you really wanted to?
I intend to do it. I just haven't done it yet.
Okay, and that question is coming from the Highland Raiders, all the way from Cleveland, Ohio. Good friends of mine, so I will not be judging that team. What are the long-term goals for SIFT-SWIFT? Are you selling to a bank? How is revenue generated?
No intent to sell to a bank. Bringing on other kinds of consumer application or consumer decision support applications over time. So the next one is actually cell phone plans. That'll be out there soon for the U.S. But yeah, just expand the existing applications into other countries as the ability to generate revenue in those countries.
How do you generate? Is it through affiliate programs mostly?
Yeah, affiliate programs. Yeah. So like I just got approved for some affiliate programs for Indian banks for credit cards. So that's why India's next for credit cards.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of healthcare.gov for everything that is not healthcare.
Correct.
Sort of. So I would think cable internet and cable TV would be type in your zip code and here's what you got. Right.
That's another good option. It is.
Do you have any metrics on how the product is currently used, such as what are the most common features to filter by? You should put that in a log. You should get some metrics on that. That's a good idea.
That's a good idea. I don't have that to share.
What team asked that question? We find out what team asked that question and give them a bonus point. It's a good question. Do you use feature-based releases or all-up version releases? I guess that's how often do you release, and what do you release at a time?
I release anything from small numbers of bug fixes, like I did actually 1 hour before the competition started.
That was not very responsible. Actually, maybe it was. Maybe because hopefully you have a bunch of regressions that people find.
Yeah, well, I found some bugs that I didn't want people to waste their time on, so I took care of those. To anything from a new major app, right? It could be anything. So it's pretty easy for me to push out releases. So I do it often.
I'm going to go out on a limb here on this question. Do you support localization?
Not right now.
No, you do, totally, as long as it's English or US English or UK English. And when it's UK English, certain words like honor and color will be spelled wrong. Right? It's localized to 2 countries as long as you can have some typos. Or Canada, although not French-Canadian. So maybe not. Australia? No. Okay. Any payment gateway software used on the site? I don't think so.
No.
Someone asked, can we crash your bootstrap? Do you know what that means?
I don't know what that means.
Can we crash your bootstrap?
I just saw that, and I have no idea what that means.
I'm thinking that's a no. Probably no. Although if they could elaborate, that would be interesting. Who is your competition?
There's a bunch of sites out there, but the big one right now is nerdwallet.com.
Okay. Are there any consequences for functional failure other than legal concerns by gross inaccuracy? You probably can get away with that with a little disclaimer, right?
Yeah. I do need to add a disclaimer, by the way. Let's see, are there consequences?
You need to add a disclaimer?
I should, yes.
Don't have one yet?
Yes, it's an oversight. Are there consequences for functional failure? No, there aren't any, other than loss of revenue. Or you mean like there? Okay, so there is the possibility that if the site misleads consumers in a way that's pretty bad. They can
All right.
complain. They can complain to the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
Is that different than the? There's a different than the SEC, right?
Right.
But
Came out
anybody.
of Dodd-Frank. Yeah.
Okay.
So there is that.
Sift Swift. How did you pick the name Sift Swift?
I looked for thousands of names before I settled on that one, and they were all taken. So something easy to remember, kind of catchy, kind of explains what you're doing on the site. You're sifting through a bunch of options swiftly to find the ones you want. So,
Thousands. So just side note, my company is Exelon Development.
Yeah.
And we're xndev.com. Do you know how we got that domain name?
Nope.
I asked Matt Honfeld to set me up with exelondevelopment.com because he offered to host me. And he said, that's too long. This is stupid. Like, don't really gonna type all that. You want something short, like, I don't know, xndev.com. So I registered xndev.com.
Yeah.
I came back to him the next day and said, okay, set it up for xndev.com. And he said, no one's going to know what that means. That's stupid. I'm like,
thanks, Matt.
It's your idea, buddy. Like, really, you told me to go do it.
Yeah. I almost ran into him this past weekend. We were both exploring the same part of Oregon.
Yeah, he's in the Pacific Northwest. What were you doing in the Pacific Northwest, man?
I just got back from there this morning, actually. Or noon. Just visiting.
All right.
Yeah.
Are you going to do the 5K alumni run for Grand Valley in October? Did I email you about that? You're a Grand Valley guy, right?
I am. No, not planning to.
Oh, okay, all right. We should probably talk about testing stuff. But I have family in Oregon. I get out there a lot. If there are no requirements on how it's supposed to work, how are we supposed to know what is considered a bug?
Well, okay, there's one part I should have shown you that I don't think I did. So there's a little details expansion button where you can see the details of the credit card that explains the reward structure. So you can look at that and see if there's anything that the app's doing that contradicts that detailed explanation of its reward structure. So in a sense, that's like a requirement. It's taken away from the card issuer.
I'm glad we got this question because it's a chance for me to say something that sounds vaguely smart. In that, like, that's the whole ballgame of software testing. We need to find oracles, which are a method of identifying a problem. And there's lots of oracles, and the requirements is an oracle. And your knowledge of the spelling of words is an oracle. And your comparison to other products is an oracle. Your comparison to similar websites could be an oracle. And any claims that are made can be an oracle. So what Joel just said is that if you click for details, you can get the claims that are made, and maybe even a link to the site to see that those match up, just in case they changed. But you're supposed to get 1% cash back for the first $1,000, and then, I don't know, 0.5% after that. So you could do your math. At $2,000, I should get $15 cash back, and then you plug it in and see if it works, right?
Right.
But seriously, like, it crashed. I get a 500 error. The link sends me to some place that says error in / application, which is a .NET error. Anything that's like, this is testing 101, right? We see stuff that we know is wrong, and we say we know that's wrong. Tracing that back to what actual oracle are we using? Oh, it's the dictionary. Oh, it's comparable products. Oh, it's usability. Oh, it's accessibility. That's kind of testing 102. How do you measure? Are there known problems you can share that they don't need to file bugs on?
Oh, yeah. So there was one, it was bullet point 7 or 8 in that list, which I guess I should have stated that. In case
people should have that by now, right? People should have that by now. If you don't, leave a comment. And so you should have an email from me And if you don't, just go into refresh the YouTube and go to the bottom left where the description is, and there'll be a link. There'll be a link you can follow to a web page that has the times, the links, the software, and 8 bullets of information about it. Go ahead, tell us about stuff you know.
Yeah. So the bug that is known, it's very irritating, but it's intentionally being ignored at the moment, is that the data table of cards, the settings on that, so the filter settings and the search and the sorting, that all gets reset every time you change your filter criteria on the side panel or you change your sorting preferences. All that stuff resets, which is annoying because you might expect that it would just stay put, but it doesn't. Yeah. It's a tough one to fix right now, so it's deliberately being ignored.
Okay. Anything else?
You know, if you try to enter really large numbers for your monthly spending, like greater than $10 million a month in certain categories, those amounts will get truncated to 10 million. That's a known thing.
Say 10 billion or 10 million?
10 million.
But
in a given, so like
M or a B?
You'd say I spend more than 10 million on groceries every month, right? Yeah. So it's kind of an unrealistic number anyway, even for small businesses. So those numbers get truncated at 10 million. So I'm not really worried about that.
Somebody asked if back-end testing is in scope. I guess that could mean APIs?
I don't think so.
I don't think there's a back-end. Like, he probably has modeled the percentages of rebates and the various types of rebates in either a spreadsheet or a database, which the software then queries from to do its math, and you probably don't need, as a tester, to know anything about that.
No.
Right?
No, there's not a REST API or anything like that to be tested.
I got a question about how to earn points. I will be talking about that in a few minutes. Actually, I should probably talk about that now because teams are filing bugs and want to know how to do well. So I'm going to just take a 2-minute, 5-minute segue and talk about that. There's 2 main ways to score, 4 possible ways to score. The 2 main ones are bugs and your test report. Test report's going to be due 3 hours after we start. Have we really only got an hour and 10 minutes to go? Is that right?
2 hours and 10 minutes.
No, 2 hours and 10 minutes to go. I'm getting caught up by the time zone. Good. The bugs and test reports are really in 2 categories. Is it accurate and is it well written? Right? So if you write really, 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 you can get up to 20 points for each 20 points for accurate, 20 points for well written, for bug reports, and for test reports. So you could write these beautiful bug reports with screen captures that say exactly how to reproduce it, and they're not the most important bugs. They're just, you get a bunch of sort of typo level, don't influence the user level stuff. Maybe you go after a ton of accessibility stuff, and that's, yeah, they're bugs, but the product owner didn't really expect it to work, right? So you could score low on did you get the right bugs, did you get the important bugs, but score high on is it well written, and vice versa. You could file all the important bugs, because we're going to review all the bug reports. We're going to have a good idea of the important bugs, and you might get it, but it's described poorly, and it's not, I don't know what it is, I can't reproduce it. If I only had this one bug report, I really wouldn't know what to do with this, even though it's important. So you could get points for, did you find the right bugs, but it was written poorly, or wasn't written well. And you can, same thing for test report. Did you actually provide Joel with information that he can use that is it the right information? So if you said, for instance, this should be black flagged and turned off immediately because it's completely useless, because it's terrible, and the user is crashing all the time, it's not really what's happening. So that's not right. It's not accurate. But you could write it well and articulate it well, and it could be it could sound convincing, and you can get 20 points for that and no points for accuracy, and vice versa. The way to screw up a test report is to provide information that isn't really valuable to anyone. Like, we had 75 test cases designed, and we executed 35 of them at an approximate execution rate of 1 per 15 minutes with 4 people, and then so many are left, and we filed 15 bugs. I have no idea what that means. Like, that's good? Are you done? I don't know. What did you not cover? What did you cover? I don't know. You just gave me a bunch of numbers. So that's the way to score badly on a test report. Test report can be a Word document, a PDF, an Excel spreadsheet. You could do it in PowerPoint if you really wanted to. You're going to be emailing those at the end of the competition. There's also possibilities to score bonus points in 2 areas. One is non-functional stuff. So you can get up to 5 more points for accessibility, usability, feature enhancement suggestions, those sorts of things. And you can get up to 5 points for bonuses for asking really good questions in the channel that help everyone. So, wow, that was a really great question. It helped everyone. Well, it didn't in particular help that team because we said it out loud. You can get bonus points for that. I think it's back to the questions.
Sure.
So, and if you have more questions about scoring, we'll get to them. Ask them. How would you like people to describe your site? What attributes are the most important to you?
You know, I think the attributes are kind of insinuated by the name. Did it help me sift through the pile of options out there and arrive at a good decision for me pretty quickly? That's what I want people to think. Oh, that's what that site does for me. I need to get to an answer pretty quickly. It needs to be a pretty reliable answer. It does that for me, and it's a good choice.
So I'm going to ask you, you use the word like good choice. It's got a lot of comparative rating factors that I think should be like a dial, right? And you just kind of plug your stuff in and it tells you the best one. But you know, when you're filtering on 2 or 3 things, I should be able to say this is 90% and that's 10%. It kind of uses its own judgment for me, and this is what you really want.
Well, sort of. It has default preferences, but you can change those preferences.
Oh, you can. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, that preference thing, you can delete preferences, you can choose new ones, and you can reorder them with drag and drop.
Okay. Cool. How would a potential credit provider contact you if they're interested in having their card options added?
That's a really good question. I have relationships with these intermediary affiliate programs, and the card issuers tend to get in touch with them, actually. So it's sort of an indirect right now. But that's a good question. What if one wanted to contact me directly? There isn't a way to do that through the site. Thank you. It's a good idea.
Should I see currency listed in relation to the country selected, Canadian, when at /KN/CA?
Yeah, the application does support different currency symbols, but in the underlying data set, it doesn't differentiate between Canadian dollar and US dollar right now. So it doesn't say CAD $, for example. That's a good point. But yeah, the $sign in the Canadian side of the app are Canadian dollars, and the $sign on the US side are US dollars.
Okay.
Yeah, with India, it'll obviously be a different symbol for rupees.
Does it maintain session data? I'm guessing that's you have a cookie that you drop that.
It does have. There is a cookie involved. It gives you essentially a sticky session to the backend app server, and that's what allows you to reconnect if you get disconnected from the backend app server and resume your session. So I guess in that sense, yes, there is, but it's just that cookie.
If we're crashing the site for other test teams, how do we know our test created the issue?
Don't know.
So, sounds like a problem of ambiguity and uncertainty under time pressure. So, yep, sorry about that. Is there a test site that could If someone says, I think I crashed it, could we give them a test site and let them play with it alone?
I don't have a way to do that within the time frame. Unless
Okay.
you let me go offline for a while, I don't
Yeah.
have a way to do that.
Okay. How long is a while?
Oh, I don't know. An hour.
Yeah.
Let's not do it. Let's not do it.
Exelon Development has a test site. We test stuff before we put it in production. That's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay. Could you tell us the breakpoints of the browser widths at which we should expect it to be responsive? I don't want you to do that.
What was the question?
You could tell us the breakpoints of the browser
God.
widths at which it should expect to be responsive. Like at 720, at 768, it should do this, and at 1024, it should do that. And
do you think I should do that? I can.
If you have it available, yeah, I guess it's okay.
Yeah, one moment.
We're already making it hard enough for them.
Sure, it'll take me a second to find it, but yeah. That won't be a complete answer. It'll be a partial answer. Let's see.
So Elizabeth Zagroba is paired with Claire Moss and Curtis Pettit. And who's Cabana? I don't know. Oh wait, yeah, I think I met maybe. No, Nawar Cabana, senior tester and PhD student in computer science at Florida Tech, developer tester. Don't know him yet. So there's some really, I gotta say, this competition is bringing in some very well-known players in the North American stage. I'm really pleased that you guys came. Hope you find some good bugs. If I know you, I probably won't be judging you, but that's okay.
All right. So 767 pixel width is one of the key widths.
What's the width?
767 pixels
767,
is the width at which a lot of things change.
Okay. What is to be expected from the test report? Well, there's a couple of different things, and really what we want to go for is value for customer. So a classic, and this is, I was talking about this in the Australia round. The classic thing here is sort of a hands-off, hand-off. I'm going to give you a report, and you're going to study it, and you're going to make a ship decision. And that isn't really how most teams I work with ship software anymore. They talk to each other. We're talking about for the worlds, can we actually do a simulation where we have a conversation? And it's also different because this is testing software that's in production, right? So it's not like, don't ship it, you got to fix these 17 bugs first. It's already out there. But how bad are those 17 bugs? Can you characterize it? And what I would suggest, the feel of it would be is we're giving information to Joel as a decision maker about what he should do next with the software. If we find 5 critical bugs, just fix them. Don't do any new features. Just fix them. I think he would say thank you. If we say, and my classic example for this is Google Maps, right? I think it's point A to point B. I need to get from San Francisco to Ocean City, Maryland. And it's pretty much straight on Route 50, by the way, if you want to do that. But, Route 50? Yeah. But point A to point B. Or I could say I want to go from San Francisco to the nearest gas station. Those are features that exist. Well, what if we said San Francisco to Ocean City, give me all the hotels and gas stations on the way, and I want a gas station every 4 miles and 4 hours and a hotel every 8 hours. Populates it all for you, gives you links, right? That's functionality that actually really existed. We just had to connect the dots for you. That's the kind of thing a tester can say, hey, it would be cheap and easy for you to do this and add a ton of value to your software. So my guess is Joel is interested in what bugs are real problems. Help me understand how bad a problem they are. Help me understand how they would impact the user. And then maybe smaller bugs. And what are the opportunities here to radically improve the value of the software to the customer that I'm not seeing? That's my guess. Now, as a judge, I want to see that you have mastery of software testing. I want to see you did a good job. So my interest is in a 2 or 3 stage report would be, what is the strategy that you used? Like, why did you test it? What is the strategy you used? How did you do it? How did you spend your 3 hours? And then why did you think that was the most appropriate strategy? Call it a 3-stage test report, which is the status of the software, how we tested it, why we thought that was the right move. Joel's not really going to care that much about those 2, except, you know, amusement. But the judges and I are really going to be interested in that because we want to see whether you demonstrated a coherent strategy that you can communicate to people to show that you know what you're doing, right? So you want to be able to, in a very light, easy to understand, non-buzzworthy, maybe not even the language of testing. Like, don't say, we identified oracles using heuristics to to identify suboptimal boundary conditions, right? We don't talk like that. But communicate to management, we know what the heck we're doing, and this is what we did, and this is why we did it. That would earn you a lot of points in my book. So it's really, there's 2 customers for that test report, the testing judges and the actual customer. Also, if you go to softwaretestingworldcup.com, you can see the top 3 test reports from former continents, and you can compare and look at them. If you want to learn how to do a test report, this is a pretty easy way to do it, and it's not a ton of risk. I'd also suggest, if you do testing in your day job, try something different, because there's very little risk. No one's going to yell at you after this competition, why didn't you find that bug in STWC? That's not going to happen. So try a different style, try a different approach. It is a competition. The winners do get to go to Germany, and according to the website right now, we've got, I'm amazed, I didn't know this was done. We've got the sponsorships in place, so you get airfare, hotel, 2 nights hotel, and your airfare covered, plus the conference registration for you to come to the Worlds in Potsdam, Germany in December 2016. I've been to Agile Testing Days in Germany 4 times. It is a blast. It is a lot of fun. The hotel staff, they're going to provide transportation from the airport to the hotel too. The hotel staff is exceptional English. It's a beautiful little town. All you're going to need is a passport if you don't have a passport. But Joel, you should go. I mean, it's a blast. I think this is year 5 for me, and we're bringing. So Agile Testing Days. I'll just talk about Agile Testing Days for a minute, because that's where the Worlds is going to be. It's their 2nd World competition, and it's really different. It's not like a testing conference. It's like a empirical feedback conference. It's an information for decision makers conference. So there are people there that are really cool, interested in product development. That'll talk about A/B split tests. There'll be people there that are really interested in test-driven development and coding. There'll be people there that are just interested in the testing part, the communications, the collaboration part, retrospectives, the handoff process. It's all things software delivery driven by testing, which is this is why I'm in love with the conference, to be frank. Can I say that? I think I can say that. So, and we're bringing it to America. So if you go to agiletestingdays.us, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys that. Let's open a new tab. Let's try something. Yeah. Let's go to Agile Test US, and then screen share it. Screen share. There we go. Start screen share. Agile Testing Days in Boston 2017. You can sign up for more information about it. There's videos on it. The call for papers is up now, so if you're the kind of person that speaks at conferences, you can submit. And I'll be frank, the travel compensation is really unheard of for a U.S. conference. It's $750 U.S. for your airfare and hotel, $1,500 if you come from Europe. It's a European-style conference. There's going to be a European-style speakers dinner. If you're an American, I would expect you've never had a dinner at a conference with white tablecloths, formal silverware, formal entertainment, and lit by candles and chandeliers. It's just going to be it's amazing. You can see all the different topics here. If you're the speaker type, if you're not, I hope you'll consider attending the conference and more information comes out. We're supposed to have registration up in the next week or so. So, bottom line, we're going to do the World Cup at the Worlds in Germany in December, and then 6-7 months later in Boston, we're going to have AgileTestingDays.us, and it's just going to be a blast. It's going to be fun. So maybe I'll talk a little bit about that later, but for now, I think we got some more questions.
Okay.
Is the topic finder in scope for this exercise?
No, it's not either.
How do you market your website? Don't see any link for referrals or for social network sharing.
Just a little, not a lot so far actually. I've done a little commenting about it in some forums where people who care about this kind of stuff hang out, but not a lot of marketing at this point.
So that might be a neat feature to be like Twitter it, Facebook it, Google Plus it, all of the things. Is geo-proxy performance testing in scope? My guess is that means testing it from Australia, India, inside of China, places where there might be network lag, because you're not using a aggregator like Akamai.
I'm going to say no.
Okay. Considering this is the North America round,
yeah.
If you really want to get your proxy out, if you really want to get your VPN out and test it from Mexico or Canada, that'd be fine, but that's about it. Are we going to have test time versus app uptime? I don't know what that means. You're going to have, so Kim, if you could restate the question more. Are we going to have, someone else if we ask, we're going to have extra time because of early downtime? No. We're done at wait a minute, when are we done? 10 Eastern, 9 Central, right? That's it. That's game over. Should there be a ceiling selection for range, such as average net reward? I think as a user, I would have a minimum reward amount I would like, but would not have a maximum.
Should there be a ceiling selection? Well, so that sounds like a feature suggestion to me.
Yeah.
So you can actually apply the column level filter in the data table to achieve that filtering. So you could say only show me the cards where the average net reward is greater than or equal to some threshold. You could do that with the little slider.
So a lot of people are saying the app is down again. Let me check shift refresh and see if that's accurate. there's a lot of comments about how can we test it and how can we decide if a feature or link doesn't work or if the site is down. Site is not loading. Site down.
Really?
Yeah, it just came up for me. I'll click on credit cards and see if that comes back. They seem to be having a lot of fun here in the room. I do not know what is going on. I'll take my laptop out into the street in a minute and try to figure this out. But yeah, now, so I got to the main screen and I clicked credit cards. Here, it seems to be coming up, but it's taking some time.
Yeah, the initial startup time of the apps is something that I'd like to improve, and it has a lot to do with actually the amount of stuff that gets downloaded repeatedly. That's a long story. Like,
you can't cache it locally?
CSS and JavaScript, well, you can. You should be able to. It's not, I'm not going to go into details, but the caching gets defeated.
CSS and JavaScript. You should just put that in front of a network cache.
I know. It's a really long story, but yeah, okay. It's something that's bothering me.
It's not where it's been. I don't know, a minute.
Really? God. Okay.
Oh, okay, it's up. I got it. That was some time. Let's see if more people are commenting in the stream that it's not working for them. Somebody said the site is down. Someone else said the site is down. Someone said clear your cache. It's working for me.
Hey, Matt, I can't hear you.
Is this better?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I lean back in my chair and then I lose my. It's just a classic Mattism. So, not so terrible here. Kind of bad for a podcast. But so this is funny. Libby is commenting. How often does the first day of testing actually end with testing happening? Not often.
No.
But I think this is we can get some information out of this, right? Are there any other questions here? Oh, Mike Nogans is reminding me about Germany. In the past couple of years, we had an award for most influential Agile test professional person, and when Lisa Crispin won, she rode in on a horse, and we had they built a car. So there's this thing called WikiSpeed, which is this kind of a personal. It's using Scrum for manufacturing in sprints, and they actually they built a car over the course of a couple of days in the corner, and you could just come in and sign up for a time slot, and then you would work a sprint, which was 2 hours on the car. So it's an electric car. It's crazy. It's a lot of fun. So when they actually started talking about Boston, they wanted to make a world-sized or a life-size Pac-Man board that you would like play with real people. It was confusing, but I think they've backed off that idea. But the Germans have some crazy ideas. It's gonna be fun. Are we actually caught up on questions, guys? That we lost Irfan. He's not in the chat anymore. Harifa is not on the chat. They've been doing a really great job, by the way. Joel and I have been just G-John and chatting, and they've been actually watching the comment stream and linking them here so I can have stuff to do. But But Simon's gone. Simon's gone too. What's going on? All right. So, Schumann, are you there? You've been really quiet. You've been letting me do all the talking. That's probably not fair. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, and we've met a couple times, right?
Yes.
You're in.
I think we met in one of the conferences before the testing World Cup,
Yeah.
and I also went to World Cup to see as well.
Yeah, it was. You were in Canada at Kitchener-Waterloo. You're a BlackBerry guy, right?
Yeah, well, it used to be, not anymore.
Okay, where's home now?
I reside in Toronto.
Okay.
So I'm in a company called Blue Cat.
Blue Tax?
Blue Cat, like
Blue Cat.
meow cat. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm assuming you're still testing software?
No, actually, I'm a Scrum Master right now.
I'm sorry. I mean, it happens to lots of people. You know, don't feel
Yeah.
bad about it. It's not a big deal. Like it's, you know, I understand. It's okay. But seriously, so you were on the winning team for North America last year, and you came to Germany 2 years ago, right?
2 years ago.
Because it's in every 2-year competition. It's almost like the Olympics. It's so much work to put these on, and we ask so much from our volunteers that we took a break last year. It's the ops tempo was so intense. I did Oceania, Australia this morning at 2 a.m. Now I'm doing this, and then we got to go grade for the next couple of weeks. But yeah, so you were on a team that won, and you flew out to Germany, and you did the World Cup. Tell us about the experience. Tell us about help the folks that are on the line understand what the Worlds is going to be like.
Yeah, so it was just fantastic. So with my team members, 2 years ago, we were just testing the software, you know, writing the test report, filing bugs, tons of bugs, and then also, but the most important thing is about, you know, filing it with quality. You're not trying to file the most bug, but more like you're reporting it correctly, reporting it precisely so that people know what you're doing, what your strategy is, and at the same time, you're explicitly indicating, like, for example, what OS you're doing, the environment, a lot of different things, so that people have a grasp of what you're trying to do. And then just polish the test report, because we only have 3 hours to do everything from gathering requirements into actual testing, into asking questions, into writing the test report, or like filing bugs, all these things within 3 hours. So we have to dedicate our time to different things, maybe distribute the responsibilities a little, which is very fascinating because it's really great to see how people work together, especially like, well, in my team, how we just say, yes, let me do this, let me do that. And we just trust our team members to do things that they took ownership on. So that's really phenomenal. And then that's only just a preliminary. When you go to the final, it's no longer just in front of a computer. It's in a room with all the finalists from different continents. And that's something interesting because you also have the live broadcast that's on YouTube. You will have the video camera that's right in front of your face, trying to ask questions. There's a host to like keep asking questions so that the audience know what you're going through. Maybe there will be a chart or a map, mind map and stuff, so that the audience can see what you're doing. So all these adds pressure to what you're doing. It's not only just testing anymore, but it's also adds to the fun of this testing World Cup. I'm going to leave a little bit of suspense here so that you will experience it on your own later when you actually get the championship of the North America.
Thanks, man. Yeah,
no
did you have any fun in Potsdam? Like, did you go for a walk? Did you go out to any restaurants?
Yeah. So first off, there was the conference. So the 3-day conference was just a blast. We got a lot of great sessions going on. And then, but to your question, we did go out to not Potsdam, but then to Berlin. We're just walking around. We took a train over there, and then we went to a lot of different sites, a lot of museums. It's great. And then funny thing was that 2 years ago was the 25th year of the destruction of the Berlin Wall or something like that. So we were there to witness that particular moment. It was great.
Cool. So Joel, a lot of are you checking the chats that we're having internally, because people are having some serious problems with the site again, and when you rebooted it, it seemed to help. How are the server stats coming?
I'm looking. Yeah, it's the utilization level is pretty high for the server. One of the things that people can do if they happen to have that that better than diagram turned on is, you can toggle that off so that every little interaction isn't regenerating that giant diagram.
Right.
So that's, like I said, that's not important to test that anyway. So that's one thing you can do to make a little more room for everyone. There are some other changes I could make, but it'd take me a little while to figure out, and it could be disruptive. So I'm kind of torn with trying to make changes on the fly and allowing people to make some progress. Because if I make changes, it could mean that people can't, that they can't do anything for a while.
So Thomas Dale is saying the server is down. I don't know.
I'm not seeing that.
Yeah. I'm seeing a ridiculous delay when you try to refresh it, but not down. So there are some pretty obvious things I think we could learn at this point, which we could put in the test report, which might be helpful to Joel. Not just, gee, performance is bad when we have lots of users, but how could he know where his threshold is, and how could he then fix it, right? If you want to get more technical, that might help him. Yeah.
I could certainly try cycling a couple of the servers.
Do you have your older site? Is your older site up?
Credit card tune-up?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
So if you find this unusable, what would you think about accepting bugs on creditcardtuneup.com?
Sure.
So that's creditcardtuneup.com, folks. If you find SwiftSwift unusable, you may also test creditcardtuneup.com. You've got an hour and a half. Credit Card TuneUp is a very similar site, only it's really fast and doesn't have some of the high-end graphicsy stuff. Tom. Oh wow, it's actually. Yeah. So let's look at creditcardtuneup.com. You want to show that one to the world?
Oh yeah, certainly. Okay, are we ready to do that?
Go ahead, screen share it. Show us.
One moment.
So we're going to pivot, and we've got an hour and a half to test a different site. How about that? Requirements change. Okay, you're not sharing your screen.
I know. It'll take me a minute.
What?
Sorry. 1 second. Okay. All right. So credit card tune-up is an older application that also is about optimizing credit card rewards. It does some things a little differently from SIFT-SWIFT, and I'll point those out. And it does some things that are the same. So some of the commonality is you can use it for both cards in the US and Canada. You can filter by what type of card you're looking for, business or college student or personal, and you can enter your monthly spending profile. And then it does a bunch of calculations to figure out what your estimated reward value is for various cards.
Is that, is that on the same server, Joel?
No, it's not.
People are saying, and I'm not getting to it.
Yeah.
Wow. So how did you get to it?
I must have been one of the first ones, and everyone else is hitting it all at once, I imagine. And it's very, very computationally intense. So having lots of people trying to do that at the same time could be difficult. It's more computationally intense than SIFT-SWIFT. And the reason that it's more computationally intense is that it's figuring things out that SIFT-SWIFT presently doesn't figure out, like what are the best combinations of cards for you. So this column here, best 2-card combo, this column here, best 3-card combo, highlight for your spending pattern what cards are optimal. What combinations of cards are optimal. So in this case, Chase Sapphire Reserve plus Blue Cash Preferred, these 2 cards are the best for this spending pattern. The best combination of 3 is the Chase Sapphire Reserve plus Blue Cash Preferred plus the USAA Cashback Rewards. And it totals that down at the bottom, and you can see the difference. So if you were to use the single best card, that's your reward value. You use the best 2 cards, that's your approximate reward value that you'd earn in a year, the first year. And the best 3 cards, that's your reward value. And then the incremental difference between those. It does some other things a little differently too. I don't know how much detail you want to go into. But it does assign an estimated value to some card perks, such as like an annual companion pass kind of thing for an airline, or a companion ticket, I should say, or a travel credit, that kind of thing. And those differences and those values are detailed when you hover over dollar amounts. It explains, for each card what those different aspects of estimating the perks value are and how it does that.
So I want to be clear, folks. If SIFT-SWIFT is not working for you and you're dead in the water and you're mad and this isn't fair and what did you could test credit card tune-up. That's my intention. And do the best job you can with your bug reports. SIFT-SWIFT is the primary site that we want to be testing, but there's so many comments in the YouTube that people this is dead in the water, it can't work, it's not working at all, it's not okay. I wanted to give folks another option. That's my intent. And we've got an hour and a half to go.
Yeah, I could try cycling the servers. Haven't done that
I think you
for a
should.
while. Yeah, will do.
So are you recycling right now?
I'm gonna in a moment.
Let us know.
Okay, system is cycling right now. Sorry about that. I suppose I should have asked you before the competition, how many simultaneous users do I need to load test for?
Yeah, it's not a. We didn't have a huge number of registrations. Let me check. Not an unreasonable number of registration. Something like 20 teams of 4 people. I said. No. 98 divided by 3. So 30. 33 teams of 4 people. 120,
Okay, wow.
120 people.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, if that many people are hitting it simultaneously, that's yeah, quite a bit. A lot more than it's seen so far, and I probably should have made some changes to accommodate that.
So I'm seeing reward credit cards come up for me on SIFT-SWIFT. And I'm seeing, see what credit card tune-up does. And yeah, we could have used NBA.com. That'll have a lot of bugs in it. What's wrong with NBA.com? We don't have a real product owner. We just know they release really often, so we know it'll have a lot of bugs in it. That's not really a real experience. We wanted to use real software with real problems that we have to work through.
Yep. And this is new and has lots of those problems, apparently.
So what I try to look for is software that is complex enough that you can't just say, yeah, it's fine, right? Software that has some calculations in it, some data going in and out of it. Software that has some ambiguity, conditions of time pressure, and uncertainty. That's what we look for. And I think SIFT-SWIFT fits the bill. Although, yeah, the performance issues are rough. Okay, let's see if there are any more comments. So I'll ask, well, So, Haritha, you've been quiet. We haven't really introduced you yet. Are you there? Are you there? So the questions that I'm getting in the chat is, in the real world, if we encounter these difficulties, test would reject this app as not ready to be tested. Is that the proper response? Tad478 is saying this. I'm going to throw this back at you, Tad. This application is already in production and generating money. So what should we change? What should we do differently? I've got an idea, and that is to have one person testing per team of 4. That gets the number of simultaneous users back down to 33. We could try that. Because I tested this thing out myself by hand. I didn't realize that the volume was so low. It was fine a week ago. It was fine. It was doing its job. It seemed perfectly fit because it was computationally complex enough that it would be challenging, but you could actually understand it. Ops needs to be involved in the corrective situation the test can test. We've got it's a startup. Joel is ops. So shoot. Um, I'm going to suggest that we try it with one person per team.
Yeah, so everything should be up, but yeah, maybe one person per team would be a good idea.
Wow. Look at this comment in the Hangout. Joel, I just got this.
Wow.
Do you know what that is?
I'm getting an error as well. Huh.
Can you reboot your servers?
I'm restarting the application server. That is really strange. I've never even seen it. So yeah. Wow, what is happening? Okay, I'm going to try one more thing. Hopefully it'll clear it up.
Is it back up now? I just got the homepage of SysWift. Okay. We have 1 hour and 20 minutes left, folks. Thank you for playing along. I'm going to suggest we have one person, one keyboard driving the site per team. Joel, can you look at your logs and see if you're getting performance tested by someone or something? Oh
yeah.
Nginx just went down.
Okay. I'm going to restart it one more time. Sorry, guys.
Credit card tune-up is up and doing fine. If you want to test that. I'm going to turn the lights on.
Okay. Should be back up. So SIFSWIFT should be back up. I apologize. Hopefully it does better from here on out.
If it's not up in the next 10 minutes, if it's not, holy cow. If it's not up in the next 10 minutes, 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock Eastern. I think we should call it, and we'll figure out what to do that is appropriate for the folks who did pay to compete in this competition. What we could do is reschedule. With other software under test that is consistently tested at significantly higher load than a couple of hundred simultaneous people. We actually have software that's in that category. I chose SysWift because it was more available and we knew more about it and I dug into it more. That was my choice. By the way, let's see what happened in Asia. There was a miscommunication. We've made some other mistakes. don't. And you're only competing against other people in North America, all who had to suffer the same sorts of problems. But yeah, that's fair. That's a. Then, 2 years ago, we were testing Pivotal Tracker, which is enterprise-grade software used by thousands of teams on a daily basis. And it had a third-party open-source intrusion detection system that noticed that it was getting attacked by about 1,200 users, attacked in air quotes, by about 1,200 users from China, and it shut itself down. It wouldn't let itself come back up unless you got an admin to go in there with root permissions and just fiddle a bunch of stuff. So I said 14 more minutes. If there's any objections to reschedule, please let us know. And otherwise, I'm leaning toward doing that. And I'll talk to, we'll see what else we can do. We should do something for you. So 2 votes to not reschedule so far. We're going to have to move pretty fast because we have to get the competition in and the grades in and the winners announced so you can buy plane tickets before the prices go up. So if we reschedule it, it might not be at a time that's convenient for you. 4 to not reschedule. 5, 6. How's the servers coming, Joel? How are the servers coming, Joel?
The servers are up, but I've been seeing some behavior I've never seen before, to be honest.
7
Wow.
to not reschedule. It's hard for me to keep this track. It seems to be about 50-50. Seems like the majority of votes are to not reschedule. Yeah, it seems like that's the majority of the votes. So we can run this thing till 9 o'clock. 6 out of 33 is 5%. Looking through it, if we can get the server back up, I'd like to run the competition tonight. Turn in what you have. Everybody being against everybody else who has limited information. It's got to be frustrating. So how can we deal with a frustrating situation with grace is part of the job, right? How can we rise above it? How can we provide information that's valuable anyway? So what's currently going on with those servers, Joel? Are they up?
Yes.
I think gotta stay up. We've got an hour left. Let's try one user per team. By now, you should be thinking about your test reports anyway. Nope. So when I go in to syswift.com, I get the home page. Nginx is giving me an error.
Huh. Okay. Give me a minute. Sorry.
It's okay. I'm going to go to leantesting.com and see who's filed bugs and see who's actually gotten anywhere. If there's no bugs in the system, nobody got anywhere, and obviously I owe a lot of people an apology. But so Team ANSYS North America has 20 bugs filed already. Right? Team Equivalent Way has 23. Team Chubb Testers has 14. That's not that much different than I would see in a typical test competition. It's a little lower because obviously we started to get locked out. We're not done yet. Let's look at those 5 and see if they are. I can't log in. I can't do anything. Yeah, these look like real bugs. Huh. Option. Yeah, I can't. I can't say it out loud because that would be sharing. But those look like real bugs. All right, Civ Swift just came up for me. Or did it? So I'm getting some errors in shinyserver.js. There's a doodle poll in the context if you want to respond, if you want to reschedule or not. It seems like a good use of our time, being that the system's down. I can't get the doodle poll out because I can't drop a web link. Let me put it in the description. Well, you know what I always say about testing is if you're not having fun, you're doing something wrong. So I think some folks didn't have fun tonight. And I don't like that very much.
And I'm going to try one other thing. I'll let you know when it's done.
If you shift refresh the YouTube page, there is a doodle poll at the bottom. You can suggest whether you want to reschedule or not. Yeah.
Okay, server is back up. I had to clean up some stuff. Give it a try. See how well it works for you.
What happened?
A bunch of residual processes that weren't dying. Not sure why. I saw errors tonight I've never seen before, so
Looks like it's back
this is
up.
valuable in that way, yeah.
There should be logs in there to tell you what people did that make that happen, right?
Oh yeah. Yep. Yep. It'll take some time to look at those though.
Yeah.
So
All right.
yeah, you should be able to get in now.
STWC just came up really fast for me.
Yeah, everybody else is out. Yeah, there was a whole lot of residual crap that wasn't clearing out. So I kind of had to manually clear it out.
Yeah, 1 vote for a team. Put your team name in. Oh yeah, this. We're gonna put 3 hours into this thing. It's everyone is created equal, right? Everyone is as host as everyone else. Maybe we should just finish it. Let's see here. So, how does disconnected from the server happen, Joel?
Normally it doesn't happen. Normally it's timing out. It should be from a timeout, but I'm worried that something else is causing it that I've never seen before,
Yeah.
and I don't know what it is. So I apologize.
Yeah, it's bugging out again. So Mike, how can we see the results of the poll? Now it's working. That's really bizarre. And in other words, it seems like it's connecting to the server, and then there's some kind of problem getting data from the server, and you get a crash, and then you refresh it, and then it works for 5 minutes, and then it doesn't again. Yep. And now Nginx just went.
That's weird because okay, I can see some. So there's a key process that's just dying. It's the application server, and I right when you said "yup," it disappeared, and I'll have to dig into it. I've never seen this happen before. It's not my software; it's somebody else's.
One of your frameworky layers.
Yeah, it's somebody else's software that's just puking out, and I'll have to dig around to find out why. I apologize.
So credit card tune-up is still up.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, credit card tune-up is still up. And we've got an hour to go. So it's 2 a.m. for Mike in Germany, who's running the poll.
Okay, I just restarted that service. I'm forming some theories about what might be happening. So I might be able to fix this. Let me try some things, but for now things should be up.
Okay. That's crazy.
It is crazy.
See what the comments are on the YouTube. So Darren Rich is saying, don't apologize or don't say you're sorry. It takes a lot of bravery to have a large number of jaded testers tear into your app. That's probably fair. I'd like to complete the test report at this point. The scores that I've seen seem to indicate that more than half the people want to get this thing done with what they have. So part of the challenge there is, what are you going to tell the product owner that he doesn't already know about the instability? Do you just put a one sentence in there like, it's unstable, it appears to be lots of users, it seems like you're troubleshooting it, sounds like it's an app server, some kind of memory leaky thing, but here's the problems that we were able to find that I think you should fix. Here's the opportunities to add value that we were able to find that we think you should think about adding at a high level. Here's how we tried to spend our time, being that we were blocked more than 50% of the time. I think that's the test report to write. When I was in Seattle in 2011 and I competed in my first test competition, it took us about an hour to write that report. We had a lot to go on though, and there was a lot in there. So I was in the bug tracker looking at the bugs. I was talking to the team members. We did a mind map. We wrote up the strategy. We wrote up why we thought the strategy was appropriate. We worked on the executive summary and turned that in. And we've got two different sites to test still. We've got credit card tune-up, and we've got SIF Swift to the extent that it is up. It seems to be really down now, right? Are you rebooting it?
Yeah. Yeah, I am. I'm trying something else. Yeah, I put a comment on the Hangout.
So at the very least, you learned that you do not want to be slash dotted. You do not want to be on the front page of the New York Times.
No, I definitely learned that.
That kind of attention would be bad at this stage.
Right. I've been fortunate in that has not happened yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Servers are back up. What the heck?
What the heck, indeed.
I've never seen this before. Wow. Yeah, I do not know what's happening to the app server, but it's like it lasts for a while, it works, and then something glitches out and it just dies.
Thank you, Claire. That was nice. As for a single test report, you can write. The one can cover. We'll offer a lot of grace here. Lots of grace.
Yeah. It looks like it might actually be a memory issue. There's there's an error in the application server log that hints at it.
Well, someone's left a comment in the comments about expanding R's memory footprint.
Yeah, yeah. I think we may. It shouldn't just stop like that. I mean, it should start using swap, and I'm not seeing it get to the point where it's swapping. But there's a strange a memory-related error in the log.
So we'll play through.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like things are running for the time being, but I can't say that that won't happen again.
Yeah, it's working for me now. Let's see how long that lasts. The pizza's long cold. I'm gonna go talk to some players. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, I'm back. Wow, that's rough.
I think I do see a problem actually. Something happened to the memory configuration. I think I'm going to have to fix it. So I'm going to go
Clearly.
dark. I'm going to
Oh,
go dark for a minute. Sorry.
Okay.
See if I can fix it.
All right. Well, a lot of teams have written a lot of really good bugs in lean testing. So those should be enough to make a test report if you want to make one. I'll have another slice. Don't throw it out. You can always send your test reports in. It's testreport@softwaretestingworldcup.com. Joel will find them valuable. We can look at them. Maybe we can do something, right? maybe we can, yeah. Go ahead, send your reports, folks. You've got until 10 Eastern, 9 Central, 7 Pacific to send those reports in, and we're going to reschedule. Maybe we can find something to do for the people that did their best to play through, that wrote as many bugs as they could and did their best on the report. Hopefully this is an opportunity to play again for free, right? Hopefully this is an opportunity to do 2 competitions. Yeah.
Okay, there was a memory problem, and it may be fixed.
No, you're killing me. We just said we'd reschedule.
Just letting you know.
Yeah, so the folks from Des Moines just said they had maybe 3 minutes to actually access the servers, that it consistently worked for everybody on their team. So, what was the memory problem?
Actually, a swapping partition somehow got disabled during a restart, and that's why the application server process was dying, most likely. So that shouldn't be happening anymore. That's not to say that it might not slow down if a ton of people still hit it again, but it shouldn't die the way it's been dying.
All right. I think at this point, rescheduling is the right thing to do. Probably for another Thursday night, probably very soon. But if you want to play through...
Apologies. I learned something. So.
Oh, yeah. If you want to play through, you can play through. I'll be around till the end of the hour. We'll reschedule. I don't know what if you can't make it. I don't know, Claire. I don't know, Claire. If you send in what you have, we'll try to find something to do to express our appreciation. I don't think that should be points toward the next competition. But we'll try to do something to express our appreciation. I can't make any promises, but I'll get together with the leadership team and see what we can do for what was the best of this challenging round. I didn't want to reschedule. I really don't. I just want it to be done. I'd be happy to grade it. But that was the strong response from the poll, and I'm going to respect that. I know, Paul. It's doing better now. The software is doing better now. It's crazy. I wonder, Joel, is it possible that your bug fixes you did earlier today introduced this problem?
No. I'm pretty sure that the load did cause problems early on. Then when I restarted stuff, somehow the memory config got goofed up, and I still don't know how that happened. So I had to fix the memory configuration, which is done now. So that immediate puking out of the app server, that should be done. But that's not to say that if 150 people hit it all at, like if there's 150 sessions hitting it all at once right now, I don't think it can handle that many simultaneous sessions. But yeah, 20 simultaneous sessions, 30, 40, yeah, you should be able to do that. So that's where it's at.
Um, this could be a pretty funny blog report, right? A funny thing happened to me on the way to the World Cup, right?
Yeah.
So how many people do we have still on that? We still have 47 people that are watching the live stream. That's about as many as we had during the when things were going full bore.
Yeah.
About 1.5 per team, 1 per team, something like that.
Yeah, it looks like everything's just humming along now.
Okay, I know that we've got some people that have dropped out. The people from Des Moines took off.
I probably could have figured that out maybe another 20 minutes sooner if I hadn't been so jet lagged. Sorry.
It's okay. It's a learning experience for me too. Oh, Claire is saying
Yeah,
it's a
everything
podcast.
looks. Yeah, the server looks really healthy right now.
Claire is saying it's a podcast episode for our podcast. No, it's not This Week in Software Testing anymore. It's the testing show. Because I just want to have more egg on my face and be more embarrassed. But yeah, maybe you guys deserve it, right? Yes, Richard, absolutely. If you submit today, we expect some bugs we couldn't figure out why this thing was broken. Well, it's because the server was down. Yep, that makes sense, Richard. Thank you. Wow, it's craziness. So
yeah, everything. Yeah, it looks. I mean, right now the server is getting used at a healthy clip. But it's nothing overtaxing it. So.
Man. So we had Asia where the actual software believed it was being denied of service and shut itself down. We had another Asia round where there was some miscommunications about start time on time zones. We had a Australia round once where the broadcast button, somebody clicked the stop broadcasting button, and you can't restart. It records it and makes it a YouTube video, and it's no longer live. We had to make a new one and then communicate to the whole team how to get to the new one. What else has gone wrong? I think that's most of it. And this is the 14th continental round, and we've done one world. But I've done a couple of other smaller events in addition. Mike is saying anytime he participates, anytime he's actually on the line, something goes wrong. So, yep. That's he's been a lot of help. He was one that set up the DOODLE poll. So, so if you stuck it out the whole time and you actually turn in a test report that's any good, I think we should do something to express our appreciation. I don't know what that's going to be. And of course, the best one of those should get something too. And we've got half an hour left. Man. So please ask some questions in the comments because I'm sure you're sick of me just talking. How's Swift Sift coming? Is it up? Is it?
Oh yeah, it's up. It looks good. It's usable.
Aha! So if you stuck around, I think I'm gonna get a piece of pizza. We'll see if there's any left. Be right back.
Really? What's that? Oh, no, it's still good. There's one that's all sausage, and then there's one that's like a hodgepodge. Yeah. We're trying to condense down boxes. So, good luck for your beer. Yeah. What would you like? Corona? Stella? Or neckline? Oh, I love it. I love it. That's a good beer. Well, we ended up going over to the little bodega next door when the pizzas came, and but before everything got started, and Paige, the lady that company sponsored the pizza pop and stuff, I thought we're going to the bodega and get beers, because I was going to run over there and buy them. Like, no, she's like, let my company pay for them. Like, because we actually had a cashier for the bodega to help her carry them, because we wouldn't have been able to get back in, because I forgot my phone. So I just stayed at the door. Yeah, it's you get back in there. Alright. The 40 people still have a lot of free trying to play. Really? So the website's kind of sort of working. We're going to reschedule it and do it again as well. Yeah. Well, we'll just be sitting out here and we're watching the. I got the football game on. Thanks, guys. It's been great. It's 7-7 here in Aspen Sports. Who's playing? Denver and Carolina. It's a rematch of the Super Bowl. All right. Oh, isn't that funny?
All right, I'm back.
In 1983, Tom Elliott was number one and Eric Dickerson was number 2. In 2011, Ian Newton was number 1 and Von Lewis. I don't know that you can compare those, but, you know, Dickerson played on the city about Kansas Rams.
So someone is talking about how people have sacrificed their time, and I understand that. And we're going to give you I'm going to try to find a some sort of prize for this, and we're going to do another round. Just so you know, Mike Nogans, who's on the line, it's 3:30 in Germany. He has to work tomorrow. He has to ride a train to get to work tomorrow. I was up this morning at 2 to run the Australian round, which would be a reasonable time for them. So there's a little bit of sacrifice involved in this all the way around. I hope you guys had some fun. We've got half an hour left. If you want to take off, you can. But like I said, if you stick around and play, we will come up with a prize, or I'll work hard to come up with some appropriate appreciation for the teams that stayed. And the website seems to be doing much better now. Plus, hey, get a credit card. Report is due at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. Wait, is it right? Yeah, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Pacific. I'm going to put it in the comments. So somebody left a comment that they don't want to hear. They heard the background conversations of me talking to the hosts of this event. They don't want to hear about me getting free beers and going to the bodega and this sort of thing. So I thought I would not talk about it, but instead just show you. At this point, I could use a beer. You probably could too. Of course, if you don't drink for any reason. Hope that doesn't offend you. So someone is asking, why bother submit a test report at this point? There's a couple of reasons. It's good practice. It's good preparation. Your team can talk about what you can do in the next round. It's skill building. And I am going to try to find some sort of reward for the people that stuck through the whole night. I don't want to promise you something that I can't deliver on, though. And the logistics of large awards for large groups are hard, but I'm going to see what I can do. So Kyle has a question on feedback on the test reports. It's actually surprisingly challenging to give feedback. We've done that in other years, and we've gotten, people have taken our feedback and cut and pasted it and compared notes with each other and written blog posts, angry blog posts about this, that, or the other perceived inconsistency. I have to see how many get turned in. Maybe we could come up with something. We could probably come up with something. I don't know about registration. We're going to have to talk to the Germans who run it. Yeah, Kim, we'll see what we can do. That seems like a reasonable thing to ask for. Actually, coordinating all of the information back and forth can be challenging. But and then there's what we do with it. But yeah, I doubt that we're going to be able to reopen registration. We might be able to give some refunds out if you can't make it, maybe, and I can't promise that either. But I would pursue that.
So I just answered Darren Rich's question that he asked at 9:30.
And what was that? Wait, what?
Oh, it's on the chat.
I'm not seeing it.
Oh, really? At 9:30, if you increase the number of columns shown, does it increase the number of R vectors in the better than diagram?
No.
You don't see that on chat at 9:30 p.m.?
I'm not seeing times.
Really?
I
do.
Weird.
And then do you see my reply at 9:36, or not? Do you see my most recent reply? Weird.
For Joel. Nope. That's weird. I do not. But so tell me about the R vectors.
The answer is that if you increase the number of columns in the data table, it doesn't really have any effect on the better than diagram or any of the, not a big effect on memory or vectors being used behind the scene. But, here, I'll put my face on if I don't have it on. But if you increase the number of columns being used for sorting preferences, it does affect the better than diagram, and it does affect, to some extent, the amount of vectors and vector memory being used behind the scenes, but it's a small amount. I'm not sure if that was the question, but that's how I interpreted it.
Richard is saying thanking the organizer for flexibility, and I don't want to say thank the players for their patience. That's we want to give it's challenging to design an experience that balances complexity, time, effort, the right size team, and sometimes you bingo it. And clearly, I made assumptions here. And then I shouldn't have. And we learn from it. I thought Credit Card TuneUp had massive traffic. So I was working with Joel as an employee with one of those job things at a company 10 years ago?
Yeah.
10 years ago. And he had this little credit card tune-up thing that was taking off, and he was doing better and better and better and better. And I turned around and tell us a little bit about Ansible, because my impression was that Ansible was websites like Credit Card TuneUp, and that was your job now.
It is my job now. Yeah, I
Right.
I do a little bit of consulting as well. I have had some consulting gigs, but now in the recent months, it's been pretty much just SIFT-Swift, maintaining the existing stuff and developing new stuff for SIFT-Swift.
So my thought was, he's making his living on SIFT-Swift, and he's doing well. There's no way we're going to crash that site with 30.
Yeah. I should have asked. I should have asked what the potential was for simultaneous users, because the traffic tends to trickle into both sites. It's not like 100 people hit it all at once. That's not the nature of the traffic flow. So even on a day where, tens of thousands of people have used Credit Card TuneUp, it trickles in kind of all day long. It's not like they hit it all at once.
Really?
So, yeah. It's just the nature of how they find out about it, through references to it, other places on the web. They don't all see it at the same time. So, it's kind of they show up randomly. So, yeah. Scalability. Thank you.
let's see, that's the 15th. I'm working on the email for the reschedule. I'm looking at my own schedule for the projects I have going on. 15th to the 22nd look the best for me, or maybe the 29th. So what kind of consulting do you do, Joel? Oh, I see. You left your comment. You left your comment in the Google Hangout. I thought you left your comment in the YouTube channel.
I can't really talk about the consulting because of NDAs. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Can you say
certainly not like this. No.
Can you say who your customers are?
No, I can't.
Can you leave it in the Hangout for just me?
Maybe I could say something about it in another video.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Is it like
It's nothing cool if that's what you're. It's not like it's super cool or super secret or anything like that. I can't say it publicly.
All right. I left a note in the Hangout. Okay. All right. Joel, by the way, just trivia. I'm going to tell the story on air. We were working in an insurance company. He ran the data warehouse, and I was a programmer. And I came to him, and I was like, "Hey, we have a big data warehouse. We could write a query that was like, look at all of the dollars that are being spent on name brand versus generic pharmaceuticals that are really the same thing, and dollars per person, and then total dollar, and say there's a $4 million a year opportunity if we could just convince these users to stop using name brand and start using generics, and they would save money too. And we could calculate how much they would save with a query, like you would save. If you're according to your current whatever, you'd save $100 a month. And then we just send them a little postcard in the mail saying, "Hey, did you know you could save $100 a month if you stopped using Procaxil and you started using Pravaclim?"
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. It's more than just drugs. It's all kinds of stuff.
I dropped by his office and I said, "Hey, I got this idea," and he was intrigued, and that was the idea guy. That was all I did. And then I left the company not that long after that and came back 2 years later, and you were the director of medical cost reduction for the insurance company, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that idea, I did push that idea actually, and yeah, it never quite took that form, but they did pursue transparency.
Oh, it sounded so much better when I didn't know that. Director of medical cost reduction. I thought, oh, he just ran a bunch of queries and turned in some stuff to the reporting team, and they went off to the races, wrote some letters. But that's to me that exemplified the difference between an idea and actually doing the work. And then doing the work. What's it? Somebody said that the reason people can't identify opportunity is because it shows up in work boots and overalls.
Yeah. Yep. That was definitely the case in that role. There was a lot of work boots and overalls.
Yeah.
And then people came to us for those ideas too, but in work boots and overalls, and some of them we got to run with, and some of them we didn't.
Yeah, so there's a discussion in the comments right now, which is a fair discussion, So given a bad situation, what is the best moral outcome? And people are having this discussion like, hey, if we did a really great job, it should count for the reschedule. It should count. We should get bonus points. Hey, we should just count this one. Hey, if we can't make the next one, that's not fair. What if we just had a winner for this one and a winner for the next one, and then North America had 2 teams to go to the Worlds? Yeah, there's no. I totally agree with what Richard is posting. There's no, like, at this point, which often happens in testing, we have to select the best of the non-ideal solutions, right? If you're saying this isn't fair, I can't disagree with you. So how do we deal with a world that isn't fair? Like, what is the best response we can have to the situation? I think that's what we're called to do. And as the sort of leader in this competition, I think that is what I am absolutely called to do and to set the example for. And it's going to be hard. I didn't want to reschedule. I wanted it to be done. It'd be easy. I just create a bunch of reports and we'd be done. And the people that quit early, well, you know, they quit. They're quitters, a bunch of quitters. But that's not what the overwhelming response was for. So you might have voted to reschedule and then you can't make it. I don't know, and we could refund you or something. We could I don't know. We'll try to do the best we can in an awkward situation. Yeah, we'll try to do the best we can. So we've got 10 minutes left before you need to turn your test reports in. That's testreport@softwaretestingworldcup.com. And if you stayed up with us all night, it's kind of like staying up till midnight to watch the ball drop when you're a kid. Thank you. So if there's something I can do to help in the next 10 minutes that you want to talk about, please leave a comment. I'm kind of out of words. Testreport@softwaretestingworldcup.com. Of course, I can't exactly paste email addresses or websites into comments, so you'll see the spaces and stuff that you need to take out. Diana, what would you like me to do? We don't get extra time for the time lost. You're right. What would you like me to do? If you want to extend this to 4 hours, I don't think that's the best idea right now. I don't know. I haven't told this story, but in 2000, gosh, it was a long time ago. 2001 maybe. 2001, I think, testing a CD, and it was all buggy and terrible. I was a programmer, and we're supposed to have 2 months to do the testing. That was back when you had the testing phase that was very long, and you just develop the software and then you test it, and before Agile. And so we're like, okay, we're going to be late. It's buggy, so we cut testing from 2 months to 1. And the reality was, of course, it was really buggy. It was harder than we thought it would be. We weren't going to make it up later. We needed to extend the deadline, but we delivered buggy software on time by cutting testing, and the results were tragic. Diana, if you turn in your test report a couple minutes later, I won't punish you. Just a couple of minutes late. Yes. If you turn it in at 10:05 Eastern, that's okay. We can report into 1001, I'm not going to disqualify you. So we just did the Oceania round, and the latest report was 6 minutes late, I think. I'm not even going to take points off for that. That's okay. But we don't want people to abuse that, because if they think they've got 6 minutes, then they're actually going to submit at 10. They think they got 10, they're going to submit at 15. So, you know, we're trying to encourage 10 o'clock shutdown. Yeah, Alex, it's been different. You got to think about this competition wasn't even possible 10 years ago. We couldn't do it. We didn't have the technology. I mean, Joel and I would be at Kinko's telebroadcasting, and you know, if you went to a Kinko's or a similar somewhere with a T1 connection, maybe you could kind of, but the social media didn't exist. You'd have to create a whole login. It really wasn't possible to do this 10 years ago, and now we've built it by just stringing together a bunch of related technologies. We're going to use Google Drive for some stuff. We're going to use Google Spreadsheets for some stuff. We're using YouTube. We're using Google Hangouts. We're broadcasting to YouTube. We're using YouTube Chat. We're using Slack on the back end, the judges. It's really amazing that we can string all these together. And the technology is really immature enough that sometimes it doesn't always work. This time it fell down on the software under test side, but we've actually had failures on the, like YouTube. You can't use YouTube in China. Yeah. Oceania had an incredibly bad storm. They had internet bandwidth problems. Yep, this is hard to put together. It's going to be hard to put together for a while, but I think it's worth trying. 5 minutes left, folks. We'll call it a night shortly. I have to present tomorrow, believe it or not, in Des Moines on Agile testing. Maybe I can find an anecdote out of this, but I doubt it. Yep. Of course, I've got business stuff going on too that I can mostly put off for a day. Boy. Yeah. Yes. You need to work. Oh, right. Of course. Everybody has to work tomorrow. But this ends at 10 Eastern. That's a little rough. Not terrible. At 8 Central, 7 Pacific. Mike is still here. It's 4 a.m. his time. He has to get on the train tomorrow. He gets to work at 8 a.m. his time. So, thanks, Mike. Awesome, Alex. We will. All right, it's 2 minutes to go, and I think we'll sign off and call it a night. Oh my goodness, it's been challenging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, sorry. I probably could have figured that out about 20 minutes earlier if I'd really been thinking sharp. But yeah,
I got an idea or two for you after we close the broadcast down that I'll
sure.
talk about on the Hangout. I think you'll like it.
Good.
So is this providing information that's valuable for you as you
Yeah,
hope
actually,
to scale your
I haven't
site?
even seen the reports and the information is
That's what
valuable.
I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Just being there, monitoring the logs, seeing stuff fall
Oh
over,
yeah.
fixing it, trying it again.
Yep.
It's been different. Been different. It's not typical for us, but so as a consultant, I actually frequently go into high conflict scenarios. Like people often they don't call for help. They don't call a doctor when you're well very often. So I am used to sort of the people. I'm used to a lot of high conflict scenarios and darkness and problems and finger pointing, and we can't figure out what's wrong, and we don't know the right thing to do, and the right thing to do is not obvious, and there is no right. It's just least bad choices. Um, and this has been a learning experience for me too. Oh, thank you, Swati. Okay, 1 minute left. Oh, nice to end on a high note to the extent that we can. Thank you, everybody. This has been great. Time. Get test reports into test report at and now it any last email them to test report at software world rules for sending test report YouTube. Awesome, Claire. I'm going. Hey, thanks everybody for playing. Seriously, if you stuck through it all, if you did your best, um, I will close with a poem that used to be on the wall when I was a military cadet. It said, "We the willing, led by the unknowing, have been doing the impossible for the ungrateful. We have been doing so much for so long with so little that we are now qualified to do anything for nothing." And while that's kind of a cranky attitude, I hope you can understand my sincere appreciation for you playing with us today. Um, Here's an interesting fact. We had about 120 actual signed-up players, but it looks like over 300 people were testing this software simultaneously, 300 different sessions. I'm not quite sure how that's possible. I guess it could be your phone, your iPad, and your browser all at the same time, but that seems really unusual. So Word, PDF, Keynote, PowerPoint, Excel, all fine. Google Sheet, okay. Yeah, Google Sheet, okay. I'm going to say goodnight. Hey, Schumann, Mike, thanks for sticking around the whole time. I know you guys didn't say so much, but I really appreciate the support. So, I'm going to say goodbye and shut down the broadcast. So, you guys want to say goodbye?
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Have a good one, guys.
Good night.
Bye.